Hey everyone, I'm Joe and today I'm going to be doing a book review of Tigana by Gavriel K. This was first published in 1990 and as far as genre goes, this is classified as high fantasy. First of all, I'll give a quick plot summary and a synopsis, and that is quite simply, although it's actually not as simple as it sounds. There is a land in the book called the Province of the Palms. This is made up of 9 individual smaller provinces, one of which is called, familiar enough, Tigana, the title of the book. These 9 provinces have been conquered by 2 feuding warrior sorcerers called Brandin and Alberico. Now, both these sorcerers have had a very long feud between themselves, both in their native land, which is a big empire across a vast ocean. You're given a few clues, but frankly it's not really discussed because of course that's not really the point of the book. It's the 9 provinces that make up the province of the Palms, and they brought their feud with them onto this land. But at the start of the book, this feud is not in the open yet. They're not happy with each other, but they're not directly at war with one another. They're more just sort of trying to harm each other through economic means and any other way they can at the moment, because all out war between 2 extremely powerful warrior sorcerers is generally bad for everybody because they've got a lot of power, so there'd be an enormous amount of destruction. Frankly, neither of them want that. Now, Brandin has one extra issue within this book, however, and that is the one province, Tigana. His son had a battle there and was unfortunately killed. This extremely upset Brandin, and he put a very powerful magic curse on the province, and basically he makes everybody forget that you were ever there. You can't remember your origins really, unless there's a few certain circumstances. Occasionally some people can remember, but basically the only way you can remember is if somebody tells you it directly and really tells you more details, and then eventually you'll remember it. But it's quite powerful and it's really all-consuming. He hates this province and he wants them to be just forgotten out of memory and out of history. He just wants them to be erased from the history books in both a literal and metaphorical sense, from memory and ideally from the map itself. He'd like to destroy the land, but obviously that's a bit more difficult even for him. So, talking about the characters that are immune, the main bunch of characters in the book are, unsurprisingly, some of the characters that actually can remember Tigana, although 1 or 2 of them have to actually be reminded at the very start of the book. And indeed, one of the younger main male character is the one that has to be reminded, and his journey from not knowing his past to suddenly remembering large parts of it, and then obviously as time goes on he remembers more and more, is quite interesting and done rather well. And indeed, overall the characters are done really well in this book. You've got a bunch of almost random characters as such, a sort of a disparate group with different personality types and different ways of thinking for each member, but they do work together well. Unsurprisingly, the same as any sort of motley crew of people works in any kind of, whether it's TV series or book. They work together well, they have arguments, they split apart sometimes, but ultimately they are together because their purpose of being together in this book is for one reason. They want to see the curse on Tigana broken, and the only way that this can happen is for not just one sorcerer to be killed, but both to be killed. So of course, if Brandin were to just die, then Alberico would just basically take over the rest of the kingdoms that Brandin now ruled, and frankly just allowing one form of rule and one form of dictatorship to be taken over by another. So you're not really benefiting in any way from this, which is an interesting idea, and it's done yet again extremely well. The character development is done extremely well throughout the book. They are introduced well, they work together well. One of the few things that I personally find a little bit annoying was the fact that the few female characters in the book do suffer a little bit from the fact that they are there almost to be inspiration for some of the male characters in the book. I mean, yes, they are independent and indeed capable of doing things by themselves, and indeed they do this, but for the most part, they are somewhat more inspiration than anything else. They are there for the male characters to think, oh, hang on, the female character needs to be helped, so I'll go and help them. The female characters can actually be capable of doing things by themselves. Actually, in most cases, better than pretty much any male character, so it's a little bit of an issue there for me personally, but it's not too much, frankly. And it is really only light. I'm probably overemphasising that fact, actually. But it's just a little thing to take note of, really, more than anything else. In fact, I'm trying to find some flaws, because overall this book has very few flaws that I found, because I loved this book really quite badly. Because the world building and the overall way the world is presented to you, Kay does, was excellent. He doesn't over-explain any one individual element of the book. Instead, he gives you an overall sense of what the world is, the general layout of the land and a few basic functions of how the various provinces interact and such, and then leaves it up to you to interpret it in a way that almost you want to. He doesn't force you to think of it in one particular way. He basically lets you interpret it in your own way, which is actually quite interesting, because with these high fantasies, normally the kingdoms and the big world building is normally a bit more rigidly locked down. These are the way all the areas work, these are the way the rules work in economic. With this, not so much. It's left quite a bit open, and I thought that was quite interesting, and actually does give the characters and indeed your view on the world a lot more freedom than you normally would, which I actually thought was quite impressive, and I really did enjoy that particular aspect. As far as the plot goes, the plot, as I've hopefully portrayed, I personally found really quite interesting. It plays very heavily upon the idea of memory and heritage. Basically, what lengths would you go to try and keep memory of something alive? Is great sacrifice worth it to preserve a memory? What is memory ultimately? Is memory a tangible thing you can look at and feel and remember, or should sometimes it just be allowed to fade away or not? He explores this obviously in an interesting way. Obviously he uses Tigana and this curse of forcibly making people unable to remember, regardless of whether they want to or not, to be a very powerful way of explaining it, and he delves into it in an interesting way, and it even goes into a bit of detail at the very back of the book. And as you can tell, by the way, this is quite a big book. It's nearly 800 pages, but it actually doesn't feel like 800 pages, frankly. Once you get past the first 100 pages, which is a little bit slow going, the book then goes really quite fast. And actually, I read this book in remarkably few hours, probably less than 6 hours until, or much less than that actually. So it's not all that long of a book once you get going on it. It does take a little bit of effort at the start, because to start with it's like, is this going to be a long drawn out fantasy, which you do get quite often, but actually it's not. You just got to get used to the way Kay creates his world and creates his characters, and as long as you get used to that, then you have no problems, and this will be a fantastic book. And I would really recommend this to basically all fantasy fans, pretty much, especially if you like high fantasy. Then this is a great book to read. If you want to start with Guy Gavriel Kay, I've heard that this is a good place to start. This is my first Guy Gavriel Kay. It won't be my last, because, well, as I've just said, I love this book and I thought it's fantastic, so I'll definitely be looking into more books in the future. So overall, a fantastic book that I enjoyed and I would greatly recommend. And with that said, that is pretty much it for this review. So if you've read this book or would like to read it, or you have any recommendations on what the next book by Guy Gavriel Kay should be that I should read after this one in the next few months, I'm thinking maybe at the end of summer I'll read another Guy Gavriel Kay, then please leave a comment and we can have a discussion as always. All my social media links can be found in the description box below as well. And with that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.